hard to say anything after that. I mean, we're going to right now do the sponsorship awards, and here's Steve. You okay?
Yeah.
Here's Steve Healy do the sponsorship awards.
I changed it up a little there. I was about to speak about something else, but we're going to do some sponsorship awards. Like I mentioned before, we had over 6 T signs on every hole. We had over 73 different sponsors for the event, and it was just a great thing for our committee to go out and reach out to so many people. So we want to thank all our sponsors, obviously, but we have special recognition plaques for all of our sponsors that were $1,500 and above. So I'd like to call Robert Elefanti up from the Deltec Corporation to receive a plaque.
My brother.
Come on, hurry up.
Robert is also the donor of the live auction Yankee tickets tonight. Atlas Advisory Group will be accepted by Steve Oliver, our tournament sponsor. Elefanti Music will be accepted by Al Elefanti and Michelle Elefanti. Michelle, you need to come up. Michelle's a 2-month-old baby at home. Look how great she looks. Steve Oliver will accept his own award for himself and Manhattan Ridge Advisors. Mike Moore, if you could come up, will be receiving the First Hallmark Mortgage Company. Also our winning group member. Glenn Malusi from Proactive Care. One of my best friends from high school. And we also have RC Securities was our flag sponsors. If you notice, we had RC Security flags on every pole today, and we will also have Steve Oliver accept that one as well. Okay, and we have a very special award tonight that both Stephanie and I are going to speak about. If you follow the website at all, you've probably heard of it from some of the journal entries. And that's our nurse, Mary, here. So I don't have to tell you that my family, both immediate and beyond, which includes all of you, experienced 8 months of hell as Brooke suffered. That hell continues to resonate every day of our lives. Part of the reason we started the Brooke Healy Foundation was to try and ease some of the suffering for other families dealing with similar struggles until we could do our part to help the medical community find a cure for pediatric brain tumors. Find a cure so no child or family needs to suffer anymore. Part of that vision was inspired by our Butterfly Award winner, Mary. Although it was 8 months of hell, Mary was there for our family whenever we needed her. Her heartfelt compassion for us was felt each time we spoke or met in person. It was almost as if Mary was our deep breath to regroup and continue our challenge. All the while, Mary knew what was to be the fate of Brooke. She has seen it too many times before. As I've thought about Mary the past months, I realized she had a half a dozen to a dozen terminally ill patients, all children, under her care at any given time. I want you to think about what it takes to head into work every day, to live the nightmare a couple of dozen times a week, week after week after week, We had no choice. Who could possibly choose to be in that situation time and time again, except an obviously exceptional person like Mary, dedicated to making a difference. Everyone in attendance and who sponsored, donated for the good of the event, is helping to make a difference. Obviously not in Mary's footsteps, but financially contributing so people like Mary can get the job done. One last story about Mary. The day of Brooke's service, Steph and I walked out of the church. We saw all the faces with the tears and compassion in their eyes. And then one face stood out. It was Mary. I could see the pain in her heart. And at that moment, Mary stepped into the aisle and approached Steph and I for a brief hug. Not because she felt entitled, but because that's who Mary is. And while she'll always, excuse me, that's who Mary is and why she'll be receiving the Butterfly Award. Before I call her up, Steph would like to say a few words as well.
When Brooke was diagnosed, there was a whole lot going on, and most of it was about her. It was actually all about her. In order to support her, I had to try to keep us together as a family. Looking back, that's what I did. I didn't realize that at the time. I relied on a handful of people to help me day to day, and I relied on an entire community to help us overall. Obviously, a big part of this journey was medical treatment. Every day we left our house at 6 a.m., me, Steve, and Brooke. MRIs, radiation, physical therapy, blood work. On top of all of that, trying to figure out what Brooke wanted for breakfast and lunch. No, it was tough. As treatment progressed and Brooke declined, it got harder. When you walk into a doctor's office and things aren't going as you would like, it's tough. Trusting healthcare providers became challenging, not because they were wrong, but because what was happening. We met with doctors that are so smart, so nice, and so wonderful. And then there was Mary. She was a doctor with a heart. And for us specifically, she was a nurse practitioner who had our trust. Most of you in this room know us pretty well. Some of you might say that Steve can be stubborn. Mary facilitated our appointments so that Brooke's care was the only thing that mattered, but she did it in a way that kept us sane. During most visits, we entered the room and we spoke with the doctor and Mary. Doctors would try to speak with Brooke, but she was tough. She took after her dad that way. Mary got it from day one. From day one, she treated Brooke as Brooke deserved to be treated. She didn't baby her, she didn't sugarcoat things. She knew exactly who Brooke was. Mary knew how to handle Brooke, and almost as impressive, she knew how to handle Steve. Selfishly for me, this was one less thing I had to do. All I cared about during these visits was Brooke and Steve. Mary took care of these two for me. Mary has been such a support for us, and I am in awe and inspired by her. I hope all of you will appreciate what she does every day for so many children and families, and I'm honored to present her with the Butterfly Award.
The Butterfly Award recognizes an individual in the medical field that continually goes above and beyond the scope of their job outline to help comfort, heal, or touch a pediatric patient in ways no other medical professional was able to do. The compassion of these individuals helps struggling families cope and deal with tragedies they face. The Butterfly Award was created with its first recipient, Mary Petricone, in mind. Mary was Brooke's nurse practitioner at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. This award will always be presented in Mary's honor.